Submarines have been used as a tool of war throughout the ages, and there have been unbelievable bases to house them and powerful technology to keep them away. From the secret bases hiding on the shores of the Adriatic Sea to abandoned narco subs found in the jungles of Ecuador, here are abandoned submarines and bases. But first, thanks FunJack for leaving us this comment on our recent funniest text message fails video, and for being a part of the early crew. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already. We'd like to give a special thanks to the YouTube channel Wacky Universe for making an appearance. Let us know about some creepy abandoned places you've been to in the comment section. Number 10. USS Ling. This 312-foot submarine is longer than a professional football field and is sitting on the riverbed at Hackensack, New Jersey. If you look it up on Google Earth, you'll notice how it says permanently closed. This high-speed World War II sub was used as a training vessel and was even transformed into a museum at one point. All restoration efforts were ceased after Hurricane Sandy badly damaged the historic submarine. At the moment, it's kind of just sitting there, stuck in the mud, and no one's really too sure what's going to happen with it. No one really wants to take responsibility for it anymore, knowing that it's basically impossible to repair. The city of Hackensack wants nothing to do with it, and is technically outside of city limits since it's on the river. A GoFundMe account to restore it only got about $25, so it's basically a lost cause and will be sitting in the Hackensack River for who knows how long. Number 9. German U-Boat. The German U-boat submarines were certainly a force to be reckoned with during World War II, and they wreaked havoc among merchant ships. But how close were the Nazis from the American mainland? Recently, a Nazi U-boat was uncovered only 30 miles off the coast of North Carolina. Maybe we weren't as safe on our home soil as we might have thought. Many Americans picture the fronts of World War II all the way in Europe or on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. This tends to prove otherwise, considering how close it was to us. This vessel was believed to have been shot down in battle, with 44 sailors still entombed inside. This discovery was made using sonar, and you can still even see the propeller on the backside. Number 8. Drug submarines. Drug dealers will find any way to get their product over the border, even if it means designing a submarine. This one here is extremely fast, but was picked up by the US Coast Guard during a massive drug raid. Constructed by narco traffickers in the swamps of South America, these are made with no windows and barely any fresh air to breathe. They do have a lot of cocaine on the other hand though. They can hold from 6 to 10 tons of illegal substances and are difficult to detect. Many of these are found abandoned after they've broken down and can be found rotting away on the banks of rivers, like we see here in this photo from the country of Ecuador. The subs are also constructed with cameras, one for daytime and the other for night vision to help them navigate through the seas no matter what hour it is. Some transporters prefer to go slow, but may make drop-offs in cities in Mexico. One run with this much cargo can take up to about 2 weeks. They should get used to small spaces, because if they get caught, they'll be doing some serious time in a prison cell. Number 7. The island of Vis. Croatia is certainly home to some mysterious islands that tend to have spooky histories. It's believed that this island was inhabited as far back as the 4th century BC, and then it was conquered by the Venetians. To this day, the inhabitants here still speak a dialect with Venetian origins. But at the beginning of World War II, this site was used as a strategic naval stronghold by leaders of the Yugoslav partisans. With so many small islands covering the Adriatic Sea, it's easy to see why there could be so many secret submarine bunkers here. But at least this is one that we know about. Here we see an entrance to a submarine pen on this island, and remains of military fortifications are still present. Now they are abandoned, urban explorers can come back to check them out. And if that's too creepy for you, you can always visit a Dalmatian puppy store. Number 6. Underground submarine base, Crimea. The Soviets certainly had their fair share of strange military bases as well, and in this photo, we see the blue and green waters of this base located under the city of Sevastopol in the Black Sea. What's a little strange about this place is that it's so secretive and so far inland because of the natural canal-like features that no one could even find it. This formerly classified sub-base was in full use up until 1993, and it certainly had the capability of putting nuclear subs into the Mediterranean Sea. The Russians called this place Balaklava, and there was plenty of munitions stored here. When the facility was decommissioned, no one still knows where exactly the Russians put the weapons, and it still remains a mystery. Now that the Russians have reclaimed Crimea, could there still be a possibility of using this underground submarine base? Number 5. Abandoned naval mines. Due to extensive naval battle in some areas across the world, underwater mines were constructed as a sneaky way to sink a ship. But just because these are abandoned and pretty old, that doesn't mean they're still not dangerous. The oceans can be a dangerous place out there. The North and Baltic Sea areas of Northern Europe still contain active underwater mines, which can go off from fishing boats or basically anything. Many were left from World War II or from the Soviet era to protect naval harbors. There's an estimated 1.6 million tons of conventional and chemical weapons in German territorial waters alone. The chemicals could have been dumped in the ocean secretly to avoid more problems with the UN. In any case, some of these abandoned mines are still lurking around near Denmark and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds each, so watch out. Number 4. Hera Submarine Base. Estonia was an important area for the Soviets to fortify due to its proximity with neighboring Finland. If enemies were able to get submarines into the Gulf of Finland, it could certainly mean bad news for the major port city of St. Petersburg. The construction of a major submarine base about an hour outside the city of Tallinn was essential to control the Baltic land. Built in 1958, it was used while they occupied Estonia up until 1991, when Estonia finally declared their independence. This site is now abandoned, and there have been no attempts to repair it for any reason. Urban explorers have now claimed the base as their own, and scrappers have taken everything of value. Here we see the graffiti inside the barren walls of this submarine base. Taggers have no mercy for this structure that was once a sign of power of an occupying force. We aren't really able to read Estonian, but we imagine there's quite a bit of deep meaning behind some of these graffiti messages. Number 3. Berle Ad Bay. Berle Ad Bay was supposed to be the UK's first local nature reserve, which offers beautiful views of the bay that connects Edinburgh with the North Sea. But it's not just beautiful panoramic views of nature you'll find here. There's quite a bit of wreckage going on. There are a total of at least 8 wrecks tallied here, 2 of which are from XT submarines. XT-class submarines, like you see here in this photo, are classified as midget submarines that were built for the Royal Navy between 1943 and 1944. The crafts are about 51 feet long and 5.5 feet in diameter and can displace about 30 tons of water while submerged. Although they might be small, they can still inflict a lot of damage. 2 training versions of the XT-class submarines can be found here. It turns out they were being used as target practice by the Royal British Air Force. No one has felt the need to remove them, and they are normally hidden due to the high tides. On a day with low tide, however, they are completely visible. It certainly doesn't look the way it used to, especially after it was targeted from above. Number 2. U-boat discovery hoax. Many websites out there will claim that this photo of an abandoned submarine was captured in the Great Lakes near Niagara Falls. And what's shocking about it is that it appears to be a Nazi submarine from World War II. Although Snopes claims that this is false and the Nazis never reached this far, it makes you wonder how far the Nazis could have made it if they tried. How close were we to having a battlefront on the eastern side of the US? We saw how the Nazi U-boat was uncovered only 30 miles off the coast of North Carolina. They've also been known to reach the Caribbean Sea. The truth is, though, this was a world war, and the Nazis had startling technological capabilities which could have easily made this submarine found in the Great Lakes possible. Let's say a U-boat was indeed discovered in the Great Lakes. There would be no way to know if it wasn't just some type of submarine our government got a hold of and was testing out over there. If a fleet of German U-boats were able to cruise down the St. Lawrence River without being detected, it would have wreaked complete havoc on industry and merchant ships in the Midwest. And number 1. Porto Palermo Submarine Base. Many people might enjoy soaking up the sun along the Adriatic Sea in Albania. However, another seemingly undercover tourist seaside city is actually home to an underground submarine base. This defensive bunker was built while Albania was under communist rule by the dictator Enver Hoxha. It's not currently in use, but it's mysteriously off the limits to the public and is located within a military restriction zone. It's believed that they stored small submarines here for reconnaissance and for conducting quick strikes upon enemy targets. These were known as Whiskey-class submarines, which were about 75 feet long and could reach speeds of 21 miles an hour. Albania was known to have 4 of these Whiskey-class submarines, all of which have been retired. Countries such as Egypt were known to have a total of 12 of these submarines and are also retired, but North Korea still has 4 which are in use. These Soviet-constructed submarines were capable for launching a guided missile, so they're nothing to take too lightly. Whatever exactly still remains from the secret submarine base still remains a mystery.
So which one did you think was the most mysterious? Let us know in the comments section and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video.